take a fact of history, comparing two wars or looking at you know, the merits of George Washington or whatever it is, and we now add this dimension to it and look at the different ways to explore that concept, history can, you know, not to be too cliche, can kind of come alive or be more interesting than our traditional sit back and let me tell you a story about 200 years ago. I don't know that we're there yet, quite frankly, but that's where I think things are moving and where I hope to see your students at the end of these next 4 years. In terms of practical matters, so the progression for history classes is History 1, History 2, World History for juniors. That is what is required by the state. After that, there are plenty of electives, which I'll show you in a moment, that students can take hold of. One very important thing that's kind of an anomaly for incoming freshmen, history is, I think, the only class that is really an AP class at the honors level. Now, students taking honors US 1 history are not going to take the AP class at the end of their freshman year, but they are essentially in an AP class. The information that they are taking in contributes to the 2-year experience that ends with the AP test at the end of sophomore year. Doesn't mean they actually have to sit for the test, but this is just to say that those expectations are real. So when it comes down to a workload, this is going to be significantly more than the advanced and the academic because the stakes are higher in terms of those AP ambitions. Just fair warning. AP history students should expect long lists of facts and dates to memorize in addition to, you know, the basic kind of philosophy of history and the contextualization that the other classes will experience as well. All right? I believe that's the only freshman class that has that, you know, aspect to it. Other than that, it really comes down to, like the English class, a kind of what is the level of support needed, right? Like our other academic classes, there are typically 2 teachers in the room, more support in terms of skills at the academic level, and that becomes less support as you move on, more independent. So again, independent readers, high reading comprehension, more support in those areas is a good indicator of where your students should fall if you're looking at moving students up from your recommendations. Okay. All right. In addition, we have great history electives that, again, will come into play mostly in the later years, but certainly worth a look at here. Lots of AP and IB options, global politics being a new addition that I'm very excited about. Hopefully there's enough interest that will run. And advanced classes that are generally semesterized, including psychology and sociology classes that students can take as well. Great, great avenue if your student is a high interest in history. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, I'm not good at this paper, is the IB learner profile that Ms. Heike alluded to earlier in the presentation. So we are an IB World school. We're an IB World district, which basically means we have the 2 IB programs, the CP and the DP. This is nothing you have to worry about now. This is generally for juniors and seniors, and there are robust information sessions on this in the middle of the sophomore year where you can get the information and talk to our coordinators and figure out if these avenues are right for your students. However, the IB Learner Profile is a kind of cornerstone of both of these programs that we do try to encourage across the board beginning in the freshman year. It's 10 principles, you know, values, however you want to put it, that we believe all students should come out of high school improving upon. I don't think we can argue with these things. We want students that are open-minded and good thinkers and knowledgeable and principled and risk-taking. So you might hear this language beginning in the freshman year, right? Teachers are encouraged to thread it in and look at how these ideas apply to the subject areas and also how people can grow in each of these qualities in their own time in our school. IB learner profile. If you have more information, if you would like more information of IB, I'll be here to answer any questions about that. Again, it's something down the road, but I know that some people have this on their mind, or at least are curious about this overall. Okay, and I believe that is it for the presentation. If you would like to contact Ms. Heike or myself, here is our information if you want to take a picture of that. Or it's all available on our district websites, of course, as well. And we'll be glad to discuss anything having to do with student placement or curriculum or anything else that you would need moving forward. Okay? Do we have time, or?
We have 30 seconds, I think,
30
if there was a
seconds,
quick
so-
question.
So if somebody has a quick question, otherwise I believe we are moving to the auditorium next. You haven't been to the auditorium where you started?